Okay, so it's been a few days since I've done anything with the excavator here. It's been real hot the last week or so. Still real hot, but getting used to it. Yeah, I think I'm actually just gonna haul this home and work on it at home. Oh, let's see how shitty this is with these shitty controls. Okay, so there is a drain plug on the bottom of the hydraulic tank, about right there. So I should probably rotate this so it's in the middle here. Okay, let's see. Hydraulic tank's here. Drain's right here. Should be able to drain. I have to find a key for this. Okay guys, I got this at home now. We're going to drop the hydraulic oil out of it, put some new fluid in it. Probably dump the engine oil too, change that. Dude, what the fuck? Okay, so this is the only one that fits, so why won't it turn? And high quality. I didn't even get it to the lock, I just spun the whole, like I couldn't even get it to turn, I just spun the whole assembly.
Are you going in the next half an hour? Okay, I'll be right back.
So it really looks like I didn't have to actually take that off. Looks like there's a spot to open the tank on the side here. But whatever, gives us better view. Okay, so on the bottom of the tank here is a drain plug. There's another one right here for the diesel tank. This one's hydraulic. 17 mil. Really wasn't that tight. It's really frothy. So judging by the lack of silicone I see around this, I'm thinking that there might be just an O-ring in here. There's a bunch of stacks of washers. The bolts are too long. Okay, so there is a O-ring, 2 plates of steel, because one would not be thick enough or stiff enough to seal. Instead of using a thicker plate, they just probably use the same plate they use here, just cut 2 and stack them up. If it was just one, as you put the bolts in here, it probably wouldn't seal very good in between. So honestly, looking inside this one and feeling around, it doesn't feel too bad. There's not a bunch of crap in there. There is, interestingly enough, so looking at in here, that is the suction screen. This is the suction line here. It goes in here, suction screen. There's another thing right here. That's where a return line goes in. So it's like a return line baffle. So the oil squirts in. It looks like one of these, but it's squirting in like this, and then the oil can seep back out there. So it's not just shooting in. The return line's quite low. So like that's basically the minimum. You want your oil when you have the oil in your tank to at least cover the return line, so it's not aerating everything. So while I have the side panel off, I'll give you a nice look around. Back side of the motor. Right down there is the solenoid valve, which turns on and off your hydraulic functions. For your pilot control, that feeds the pilot oil to the joysticks up here, which gets this pressure from this outer section of the pump here. So it, whoa. So how this works, oil comes from the tank into this side of the pump. There's a 2-section pump here. 1, 2. There's an oil passage inside to the second one. This is your pilot circuit. There's a little hose that comes down here to this little inline pilot filter, 15 microns. This then has a hose that feeds up to the bottom of the solenoid valve, which is right here. When you flip the switch on the console, it puts power to this little magnet here, pulls up on a valve or on a solenoid, opens a valve, lets hydraulic oil then flow up to these control joysticks. Imagine there's a fuse somewhere. So this is the wire. The wire goes from solenoid up to this wiring harness, goes all together. Up to the switch. I don't see any fuses here. So the back side looks like there's a big, how many amps? 30 amp and a 40 amp. 30 amp and a 40 amp. They're not really replaceable. That's kind of weird. This will be a glow plug. This is a temperature cutoff switch. They don't actually read the temp. It's just like a high temp thing. It'll set off a light. So here in Canada, they passed a law in the last year or so prohibiting or restricting VOCs, volatile organic compounds. So chemicals that evaporate real fast. So everybody, all the brake clean companies are forced to change the formula from like the chlorinated and the other, I don't know what the chemical, I can't remember what the chemical was, and they changed it. So now basically all our brake clean is acetone. It is incredibly smelly. It is incredibly hard on your skin. It is incredibly hard on paint, rubber, plastics. It dissolves ABS. It'll blow the seals out of everything. So all the brake clean now in Canada is just garbage. I used to buy the 313, whatever it was, but it paled old stuff. Stuff was awesome. You can't get it anymore. So what I'm going to try now, it's just 99% IPA, isopropyl alcohol. Might not clean as good as the old brake clean. The new brake clean, the acetone stuff sucks. Doesn't clean anything. And it just ruins seals and plastic and all that. But this, for things like this drain plug I dropped in the ground, it's covered in some gravel. Now I can blast it all away. Definitely smells like alcohol. Smells like I'm at a hospital now. I guess it cleaned. So, I mean, it's super flammable. It kind of stinks, but it's better than acetone. Of course, when you have gloves on, then your face starts itching. And this diesel doesn't look very diesel-y. Okay, now to put more oil in it. I really wish they didn't have these super small freaking fills. It smells like paint thinner. I hate that everything requires keys. You can't just unlock it and leave it spring loaded. Make a mess. Oh, we're on the side glass. All right, so we're on the side glass now. Right there, perfect. Okay, so I was charging the battery, the camera a little bit. I put this cover back on, the panels back on. If you're gonna do the access to the hydraulic tank side, all you have to do is take off this bottom. You don't have to take this top off. This cuts off a little bit of the top, but you can still get to it. So I got all that back on. Right here's a little spot that I cut out to let the hoses and everything through. I'm just gonna bolt this back in place here. Might run a self-tapper into each one of these to keep it from vibrating. It's funny now everything wants to touch the muffler. And the fit and finish on these things is junk. I should have screwed that back on before I put this panel on. So because this side of this console is not actually bolted to the machine, I think if I can pry it up a bit. Okay, I got the cover back on, I got this back on, had to turn off the camera or else I would have got demonetized from swearing so much. So now, let's grab some of these. We have a ratchet. Now there's the swing motor. Down here. This blue thing in here. It's very beneficial to put like a cushion valve. I don't know if I'm going to do that or if I'm just going to sell this thing. But I am going to tighten and Loctite the bolts to hold it in. The best way I found to do this is to get an M8 ball end hex like this, because it allows you to get down at an angle. You can pull them out. So I'm going to pull them out one at a time. Put some red Loctite on the threads. So I'm going to do this by hand, not using a impact. So here's the bolt. They're not that long. So here's some red Loctite. It's permanent, high temp. Put on the threads. Okay, so you want to crank it down tight. You have to kind of get a feel for it. Not too tight. You don't want to break off your tool or strip the threads out, but not too loose. So you got to do that another 4 times in total. I'm going to go plug the camera back in for a little bit, finish this up, and then I'll come back. Hey, it's raining now. If I fired it up, I moved it around a bit, cycled the hydraulic fluid, the old stuff, through the system back to the tank. Seems to run pretty nice. Now I'm going to drain the engine oil. I'm just going to send her with the impact. That's the wrong way. And that's not draining very fast, so we'll see if we can pull the fill cap off. There we go. I was pouring fill cap off there. Engine dipstick right here. I think I saw online somebody pulled this cup holder out and you can get to the rad cap. But I might have to go inside for a little bit. Go.
The next day.
So quick note, if you leave the battery disconnect on, it will drain the battery because there's a small light that stays on the solenoid here. Even if the key's off and this is on, your battery will die. Let's go get the boost pack.